Hello and welcome to This Week on Q. I'm your host, Derek Lambert, and this is a special week on Q because it is our last one of the semester. We're going to start things off with Instagram. Users of the photo-sharing social media app will soon have the power to quiet the haters in their feeds. The Facebook-owned photo-sharing app announced it's adding a feature to allow users to turn off comments on individual Instagram posts. The comment disable option can be used before or after posting an image. Instagram CEO says the tool is aimed at keeping the online community a welcoming and safe place for everyone. I personally like to consider my Instagram a safe space, so go ahead and give me a follow. A new study takes the Netflix and chill phrase to a whole new level. Users tend to binge watch episodes, then chill after. After analyzing the viewing habits of more than 86 million members, it found that 59% of viewers stopped watching Netflix for 3 days before starting a new series. 61% watched a movie. Then they found an interesting pattern. People who binge watched Narcos, about a drug lord Pablo Escobar, were more likely to stream Pulp Fiction. And after Gilmore Girls, viewers watched throwbacks such as 16 Candles or Dirty Dancing. I'm not going to lie, I do a lot more chilling than I do Netflixing. In other news, Google says they're going green, or more green apparently. The company says renewable energy will power its offices in dozens of cities next year. Google plans to buy enough renewable energy to power all of its operations in 2017. That includes 13 data centers and offices in 150 cities. Google says its long-term goal is to run on clean, zero-carbon energy full-time every day of the year. For now, Google uses power purchase agreements. Those were 3 things you needed to know. Now, let's start the show. All semester, we've been following big changes happening at QU that involve the future of the university. Recently, the Board of Trustees announced Phil Conover as the new interim Chief Operating Officer. Conover will work with the Board of Trustees to create a plan that will focus on growth of enrollment and increasing tuition revenue. As a part of the plan, some position eliminations will be made by December 9th. Conover has been Vice Chair of QU's Board of Trustees and has an extensive experience in higher education. QU Media has been covering this story over the course of this semester. Joining us now in studio is Falcon News editor Lauren Beeman. Lauren, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Derek.
Could you talk to us a little bit about how it's been covering just the various things that have happened throughout the course of the semester, from the vote of no confidence to now, the Chief Operating Officer being a ex-Board of Trustees member?
Right, like you said, it started with the faculty vote of no confidence, and originally not much got out about the vote, so I think the challenge in reporting that and having enough content is just reporting the facts and sticking to the facts and kind of trying to gauge what's important for students to know and how to relate it full circle to how it's going to affect students in the future.
Okay, perfect. Could you maybe, on that note, talk about some of the best Falcon stories of the semester, whether your personal favorites, some that you've written? Just kind of tell me a little bit about that.
Sure, I've had a lot of favorites this semester. I thought this was a great semester for the Falcon. We had a lot of hard-hitting news stories, so that always helps reporters. The beginning, our very first issue, we had a report about the parking issue going on and students getting fined and getting ticketed, and they were never aware of the situation at first. So I thought Dominic Miles, the reporter for that, did a great job. And then Amanda Boyer wrote a story about the mold issue in the A.O. Pye house, which I think it had 2-page full cover, and her quotes, her interviews, everything about it was immaculate and very well done. And I think it's an important thing to know, not only because this has been an issue with A.O. Pye in the past, but also because mold is an issue on campus and the students need to know about it. And then I think the newest rendition to the Falcon has been Bryce's editorials. In the past 2 issues, he's been vocal and had the liberty to write about things that he personally felt needed to be addressed on the university, especially in regards to students. So I'm always a fan of a good editorial, and I had the privilege of editing those. So
Good. Could you maybe tell me what your personal favorite was? We kind of talked about a recap, but what your personal favorite was for the semester?
Definitely. Without a doubt, it was Amanda's coverage of the mold story. Like I said, I just thought her investigation into the issue was very thorough, and it's everything you want a good piece of journalism to be. It was informative, it was reflective, and she also did a very extensive follow-up to make sure she was able to report to the students everything that was going on and make sure they were aware and taken care of as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to come down and talk to us about the Falcon.
No problem. Thank you.
After the break, we bring in a special guest to discuss what the new year will look like with President-elect Donald Trump. From all of us here at QTV, we wish you
happy holidays and Happy New Year.
Join us next semester to kick off 2017.
Merry
Merry Christmas.
Christmas. Welcome back. 2016 has been a year full of surprises. Donald Trump being elected president definitely raised a few eyebrows. CNN's Elwin Lopez has more.
Thank you, everybody. Wow. Thank you.
President-elect Donald Trump is expected to hold another rally later today in North Carolina. But first, he has a busy day in New York, meeting with Exxon CEO Rex Tillerson, former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, as well as the mayor of Washington, D.C. But Trump started his day on Twitter, criticizing a major airplane maker. Quote, Boeing is building a brand new 747 Air Force One for future presidents, but costs are out of control. More than $4 billion, cancel order. And telling reporters at Trump Tower,
I think it's ridiculous. I think Boeing is doing a little bit of a number. We want Boeing to make a lot of money, but not that much money.
Boeing plans to switch out the two 747-200 aircraft currently serving as the president's planes with more updated models. It is not clear why he cited the $4 billion number. Boeing says its contract is currently worth $170 million. Although the Air Force has yet to formally place the order that Trump wants to cancel, the president-elect's move isn't unheard of. President Barack Obama put on hold a multi-billion-dollar order for a new fleet of presidential helicopters when he came into office. Tonight, Trump hits the road to Fayetteville, North Carolina with the first of 3 rallies this week. He will then head on to Des Moines, Iowa Thursday and Grand Rapids, Michigan on Friday. In Washington, I'm Elwin Lopez.
QTV executive producer is joined by a QU professor to reflect on Donald Trump's historic election. Sarah?
Joining me now on the show is Dr. Justin Coffey, Associate Professor of History here at QU. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Dr. Coffey, I know that you've been actively involved in this election, and Donald Trump winning the election shocked the national news.
Right.
How surprised were you when all the votes were counted?
I was shocked. I thought Hillary Clinton was going to win both the popular vote and the electoral vote. The polls showed her a couple points ahead, but what was really surprising was that Donald Trump was able to win states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin to get him to victory, to win a majority in the Electoral College. I didn't see that coming. Most people didn't see that coming. It's one of the biggest upsets in American history.
Do you believe that this election has had an effect for millennials on the idea of voting?
You know, I don't think so. And one of the reasons I'll point this out is because in the post-election analysis, it has shown that millennials did not come out as strongly for Hillary Clinton as they did Barack Obama. Now, that is not a sign of disenchantment among millennials because a lot of them voted for Donald Trump. So you could actually say that the millennials were voting very much like the larger population being divided, but I don't think it turned them off voting now.
Now, social media has played a big part in dramatizing the reactions of this election.
Yes.
Has there been a similar election in history that maybe caused this much commotion within the general public?
I'm not thinking one off the top of my head. And one of the reasons for that is because what you point out, we've never had social media to this extent. Since the election, Donald Trump has been using Twitter as a platform and not really speaking to the public or the press. He's been using Twitter as his platform. We've also seen social media engaged by the opponents of Donald Trump, many of whom have taken to the streets and protested. The United States, after this election, is still a nation divided, and social media shows just how divided the country is.
Now, going back to how you said that the protesters have taken to the street,
Yes.
how do you view the attempts of these protesters, and do you think that they could actually cause a difference in the results of the election?
No, the election is settled. Even though there's a recount going on, Donald Trump has a clear electoral majority. Even if one of the states, the election results were overturned, he would still have a majority. Social media has driven people to the streets, but it will not affect the outcome. What it does show, however, is that Donald Trump is going to face a difficult time uniting the country.
Didn't think of that before.
Yes.
Now, how do you view Trump's cabinet so far, and who he's appointed?
You know, what we were just talking about was there's been a hashtag on Twitter, not my president. Well, the fact is Donald Trump is going to be the president of all people, and partly his job to unite the country, but those who oppose him also have to recognize that both Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton said we need to support Donald Trump, at least for a while, and recognize that he is the president. What Trump has done, actually, is kind of contradictory. Some of his cabinet picks are quite conservative. For example, today he picked Dr. Ben Carson to be his nominee for Housing and Urban Development. That's somewhat of a controversial choice. But at the same point in time yesterday, he met with Al Gore to talk about climate change. His cabinet right now, I don't foresee a lot of problems other than perhaps Dr. Carson. Jeff Sessions, his Attorney General, is very conservative. That's going to be a battle to get him confirmed. But the big thing that we were waiting for is his nominee for Secretary of State, the top cabinet post, and he has not made that announcement yet.
I'm sure that'll be surprising when he does, knowing Donald Trump.
Yes, it will. Yes.
Now, thank you for joining us today, Dr. Coffey. We appreciate you taking your time out of your day to join us. Back to you, Derek.
Thanks, Sarah. When we come back, KU men's basketball player Grant Meyer passes his experiences to us about their recent trip to Puerto Rico. Over the Thanksgiving weekend, the KU men's basketball team traveled to San Juan for the Puerto Rico Classic. Game KU defeated Tiffin University 72-71 to start the weekend. In Game 2, KU defeated Northwood University 91-83. The Hawks went 2-0 and are now 9-1 on the season. Our producer Evan Powell sits down with Grant Meyer to recap the trip.
Thanks, Derek. I'm here with senior guard Grant Meyer. Thanks for joining us today. Well, the team is off to a fast start this year, and it looks like you guys have a lot of talent. Tell me, Grant, how excited were you when you first heard about the trip to Puerto Rico?
Yeah, I was very excited. You know, you never get that opportunity. At least you don't think you do anyway. So I was very thrilled to have the chance to not only go to Puerto Rico, but to actually play basketball there too. So
I can imagine it's fun. What were some of the attractions you've seen in San Juan?
we saw a couple. There was one, we went to an old historic battle site down in Old San Juan. And at that same location, there was a large cemetery that's kind of one of the main attractions in Old San Juan, where a lot of people would like to be buried. So it was very unique and different from cemeteries back here.
I bet you that was a good sight. What was your favorite part of the trip personally?
Personally, it was probably that trip. It was a team excursion. We had a tour guide who picked us up from our hotel and showed us around the city. So, you know, he told us a lot about how Puerto Rico is culturally, while as economically. So just learning a little bit more about Puerto Rico while at the same time seeing some of the cool sights.
Did you get to go to see the beach or anything? That was probably pretty fun.
Yeah, we weren't far from the beach at all, maybe 3 or 4 blocks. So when we did have some downtime and the sun was shining, we made sure to get.
I mean, it was nice you guys were winning too. Was there anything interesting that you like? Was the food really good or?
It was different. You know, it was weird being down there for Thanksgiving. We had a Thanksgiving meal at Platos, and we had their cuisine for Thanksgiving, so didn't really feel much like Thanksgiving, but you know, it was still good food and filled the stomach. So
that's good to hear. Well, thanks for joining us today. Looking forward to watching you guys the rest of the season, and good luck. And back to you, Derek.
If you're looking for unique present ideas or if you're already in the Christmas spirit, students give us their favorite Christmas memories. And coming up, I finish my Where in the Queue series for the semester.
QUTV is more than a news outlet.
1 in 5 undergrads work at least 35 hours a week year-round.
Students involved with QUTV learn life lessons, create lasting memories, and gain the experience needed to succeed in future careers.
Students need to be involved with QUTV as a viewer or as a participant because we need to know what's going on around our campus.
Knowledge is powerful, and QUTV News serves to inform not only the students, but the Quincy University community as a reliable and powerful news network.
If any of you are like me, you're going to wait until the last minute to do all of your Christmas shopping. And if you want gifts that are funny and unique, Quincy has just the place for you. Old stuff, new stuff, fun stuff, and cool stuff. That's Potter and Vaughn in the historic downtown district of Quincy, Illinois.
Well, I'm a fun-loving person, and I wanted to have things that were just a little bit offbeat. And I've been following different lines for years, and thought if I ever had a shop, I would want to carry that line. We have gum and hand sanitizers and breath sprays and all kinds of things that have just clever little sayings, and just they could be a little bawdy and maybe a little step across the line, but that's all right because everybody needs to laugh. And if people come in and they don't laugh, I feel like a failure. But mostly, yeah, they enjoy coming in and getting a good laugh.
Potter and Vaughn has just about everything from furniture to greeting cards, and their top seller,
socks, is the #1 item. If you can't find a pair of socks that fits just about anybody on your list, I'd be very surprised. And what's really fun is when people do come in and they look at the socks, especially if they're with another person, they'll, well, that'd be perfect for so-and-so, and oh, that's so-and-so, and that one is perfect for Betty. Or it's fun to listen to people as they shop for them. In addition to the socks, obviously just lots and lots of stocking stuffers. Little things that'll make people laugh when they put their hand in their stocking.
If you want to make sure you are shopping local, Potter and Vaughn has a little bit of everything made right here.
I'm really proud of the fact that the shop carries the work of local artists and artisans and craftspeople. It gives them a place to display their merchandise, and we have so many talented people in Quincy. So all of the jewelry I carry is from local artisans, and we have local art by a local artist on the wall, and frame things that are professionally framed by a professional framer, and coasters made by his wife, and who's a wonderful good friend of mine, and just all kinds of interesting things that are made by local people, and I love that.
Potter and Vaughn may ring a bell with some locals. A furniture store bearing that name was in business until the early 70s on Hampshire Street, west of Washington Theater. Funny enough, when Potter and Vaughn moved into their location at 504 Hampshire, they had to make minor renovations. During those renovations, there was something found in one of the walls. That's right, that is a receipt from the original Potter and Vaughn furniture store. After finding this, Lisa knew that she must have been doing something right, and it reaffirmed that she had made the right decision. Get down to Potter and Vaughn and get those unique gifts for your friends and family. For This Week on Q, I'm Derek Lambert. 'Tis the season for those special holiday memories, sometimes good or not so good, and some absolutely ridiculous. Take a look at what some QU students remember from their holiday seasons.
My favorite Christmas memory was when my parents we would all go outside and we would watch and listen for Santa, and if there was snow on the ground, my parents would put like little paws in the ground, and then we'd set out reindeer food and set out cookies for Santa.
My favorite Christmas memory would have to be cooking Christmas dinner with my mom after we open presents with everybody. It's always fun and I like it.
My favorite Christmas memory is when my family and we always go Christmas caroling every year, and it's always super fun because none of my family can sing, so all the people that we carol for always laugh.
7 years ago, it was very snowy. So I got my friends, my brother got his friends, we all went to the park and played football. And it was really cool because it was like a bunch of snow, it was like a foot of snow. I think it was after a blizzard. Yeah, it was after a blizzard, so basically we're just running around, getting all wet and stuff like that.
So one year for Christmas, my little brother and I went out to the living room after Santa had already been there. and we poked holes in all of our Christmas presents so we would know what they were before we had to get up the next morning. And so it actually became a Christmas tradition.
Thanks for joining us all semester for This Week on Q. Make sure to continue to watch QTV on campus on Channel 97 and Facebook for the latest news around. Have a fun and safe break, and happy holidays from us here at QUTV.